What's up YouTube? It's Rules for Rebels here, and in today's video it's going to be kind of a word of caution about eBay. I personally avoid selling like really high dollar items on eBay unless it's a situation where it's a local pickup, in which case I will only take cash money. I did a blog post a while back, don't get burned by eBay's flawed policy on local pickups. Basically, eBay forces you to offer PayPal as a payment method. However, should the buyer pay with PayPal and it's an in-person pickup, you have no tracking number. All that buyer has to say is, I never got the item. They're automatically going to get to keep your item, and they're going to get their money back. So eBay has a huge flaw in the system there. If you do a local pickup, only take cash. And for high dollar items, I would do a local pickup. The most money I'm willing to sell something on eBay for and ship it is $1,000. I don't even really like going up that high. I've been burned one time. Somebody did a chargeback on me. Literally within probably 2 hours of me having uploaded the FedEx tracking, they initiated a chargeback because it was an Amex card. I didn't even have a, typically you get a chance to respond. I can show a signature, I can show a tracking number, etc. But with Amex, it's pretty much customer gets their money back immediately, no questions asked. They're not even going to give the seller a chance to rebut. And a lot of times, if somebody claims that it's an unauthorized charge, I didn't make that purchase. That's also going to be an automatic charge. You really can't do anything to fight that. So let me just share you this email I got from somebody. So he says, eBay buyer scammed me out of a $17,000 item. He was on the West Coast. The buyer was on the East Coast. I sold expensive stuff on eBay from Colorado, and the buyer is in North Carolina. Manipulated eBay into getting it for free, effectively stealing $17,000 from me. I have evidence to support me, and I want to sue them and get my money back. I'm willing to fly there if need be. And he says, I sell semi-professionally on eBay and live in Colorado. So first off, if you sell semi-professionally on eBay, you should know better than to send something worth $17,000 to somebody. I hate to say it, but I mean, that's the reality of eBay. We all know, even with the PlayStation or something, we know I ship a PlayStation to the buyer. The buyer ships me back his old broken PlayStation and keeps the good one I sent him. Or he ships back a box of bricks and leaves me holding the bag. Whatever it is, there's so many scams that can take place. And with a lot of those scams, eBay is going to side with the buyer, and there's really nothing you can do about it. But let's move on. So I recently sold a very expensive set of jewelry for approximately $17,000 to a buyer in North Carolina. After receiving it, the buyer opened up a item not as described case against me on eBay, saying it was fake and wanted a refund. It definitely is not fake. It belonged to my late grandmother, and I have a signed statement from a professional jeweler who tested it for authenticity. I'm guessing this is maybe some old Tiffany jewelry or something like that, just due to the dollar amount, and because they say authenticity. I sent them a return label and received a box a few days later that was literally filled with trash, wadded up paper, a banana peel, rocks, etc. I refused the refund, but eBay sided with the buyer and removed the funds from my account. Now, I think he's mixing up eBay and PayPal here, because eBay isn't the payment processor. So I think your issue may be with PayPal here, unless eBay's case transferred over to PayPal and PayPal is holding the money. eBay and PayPal are extremely buyer-friendly and will side with them almost 100% of the time. And a common scam is to buy an item, complain that it wasn't as described, and then mail back a different item. So that's just what I described with like the PlayStation. It happens with a lot of high dollar items, especially a lot of electronics. Let's say I have a broken $1,500 DSLR camera sitting around. Here's my camera. I go and order a good one from eBay. It comes, I say item not described, or I want to return. I send back this broken piece of junk. I keep the seller's new one, and I just got a $1,500 camera for free. It's really a shame that people do this. And I would like to think that if eBay saw a pattern of behavior like this, that they would stop siding with the buyer. But sadly, I know there's people who get along for quite a while running the same scam over and over. And also, eBay doesn't really require you to give them that much information. Anybody who's savvy with proxies and VPNs and things like that can create a bunch of different accounts and play this game a lot of times. But let's pick up. He says, eBay and PayPal are extremely buyer-friendly and side with the buyer almost 100% of the time. A common scam is to buy an item and claim it wasn't as long as eBay shows a package of some kind was returned, they force the refund. This is no big deal, and it's happened to me before on much less valuable items. I figure in a margin for fraud just like any good online business does, and then write it off on my taxes. But for $17,000, I'm willing to pursue legal action, even if it means having to fly to North Carolina and file a suit there. So one thing I will say, if someone scams you out of a couple $100, it's probably not worth your time traveling to it, unless it's just for the principle of it. If someone scams you out of $400, it's going to cost you more than $400 to fly to North Carolina, get a hotel, take somebody to small claims court, etc. So most people will drop it. I forget what the dollar amount is for like grand larceny or whatever it is, but this certainly falls into a category where we're talking a much more serious. This isn't getting a free PlayStation. This is taking it to a whole new level. I have plenty of evidence, and I'm kind of surprised that, good for the buyer. Couple things here. The buyer talks about how, or I'm sorry, the seller here talks about how he has all this video evidence. The sad thing is, eBay will probably not even bother looking at the stuff. So, great that you did it. Hopefully with the USPS like mail fraud division, you might be able to get somewhere. I actually heard of a story recently, and I'll share it with you guys in another video. But basically, two guys from two different states had an eBay transaction. The buyer did some kind of scamming game. The seller actually got like mail fraud, USPS investigations involved, filed a local police report. His police department followed up with the police department from where this gentleman was from. And apparently the police department where the buyer was from got a search warrant, searched the guy's house, and took back the item. If I'm not mistaken, there obviously has to be some evidence for a search warrant. So I think the idiot who got the free stuff and claimed he didn't get it, like probably posted himself on Facebook wearing this necklace or whatever else it was. Very rare is something like this going to happen where somebody's actually arrested. I think the only reason in this case that I'm telling you guys about why something happened, both the individuals were from very small towns. So, if you're from Chicago, if you're from New York, if you're from LA, the police department's not even going to answer a phone call about an eBay scam. You know what I mean? They don't care. There's murders happening. There's much more important stuff. But if both parties, I think this guy was in the perfect situation. He was from a small town where the police department, I don't want to say didn't have anything better to do, but where literally they didn't have anything better to do, and they would actually open an investigation and call the other city's police department and things like that. And it just so happened that the buyer was also from a small town where apparently the police department didn't have more pressing issues in dealing. I'm not knocking a police department for looking into this. Props to them. All I'm saying is that in a good sized city, the police department's not going to care about something like this. But rarely does that happen. But goes to show, document everything. For $17,000, it's worth traveling somewhere and suing somebody for something. At $17,000, you may be able to get police departments or post office fraud division involved. So it does help to document things. But let me continue on. I have plenty of evidence, an uninterrupted videotape from me packing it up, driving to the post office, and having it shipped registered mail. I also have uninterrupted video of me going to the post office, picking up the box I received, including a close-up of the label and tracking number, and opening it to find garbage. As I said, I've had this con pulled on me before. The buyer has sent me mocking text messages practically admitting it, and her Facebook profile picture is her actually wearing a necklace from the set. Just in case I backed all this stuff up online and in other places, I filed a report with the police in my jurisdiction, the buyer's jurisdiction, and the U.S. Postal Inspection Service. I've tried to resolve the issues through eBay with evidence, but again, they are buyer-friendly and have declined to reverse the funds. At this point, legal action seems to be the only way of getting my money back. How do I go about this? Does that suit have to be filed here or in NC? So I'm not an attorney. The one thing I can tell you is this is definitely too large for small claims court. I think this guy may actually get somewhere with either his local police department or the police department where this person's from. I would suggest calling both of them and notifying them about this, letting them know about all the evidence that you have. Also get USPS fraud division involved in this. One other thing I noticed, to me it seems stupid to send this stuff. Like, I don't trust the post office with anything over $100. So when we're talking $17,000, to me this is crazy to trust the post office with that much money. FedEx is much more reliable. Personally, something that I wouldn't even sell anything this valuable online, but if I did, it would definitely be going FedEx and not the post office. FedEx would probably be more helpful in trying to. Actually, I don't think FedEx would get involved in trying to recover the thing because it's more of a civil matter. It has nothing to do with the delivery, but they may have some type of internal fraud department themselves. But yeah, definitely, it sounds like this guy's got evidence. Definitely submit it to your local police department, their local police department. Like I said, this is too large for small claims court. I think small claims court is normally $3,000 to $5,000 limits. So this will have to go higher up the level. But I think due to the size of this rises above just simple fraud or whatever. This is like grand larceny. Sounds like you have a lot of evidence. I would maybe give the buyer one more chance, like present them with the evidence. Send them a YouTube video showing the uninterrupted of you shipping it and getting it back. Show them that you've saved the text messages. Show them the Facebook picture of them wearing the jewelry they claim to have not have received. Show them the pictures of the jewelry. Show them all your documentation and be like, look, do we really have to take this to the point of you becoming a felon over this? Or can you just do the right thing and send my stuff back to me? I mean, I would even take it to the step of showing up on that person's front door and being like, look, this shit is not going to go away. I'll post up on the front door. You want to call the cops on me? Call the cops on me. Somebody who knows they're in the wrong in this situation at some point is going to back down when it gets escalated enough, unless they're a complete idiot. But yeah, I would give the buyer. I would basically show your case to the buyer, let them know exactly what you have on them. If you want, even fly out there and bang on their front door. But I have a feeling this will wind up getting resolved. Please email me back. Let me know how things wound up working out. But when $17,000, like, you're not going to get the FBI involved for anything less than like 10 million or something like that. But you might be able to get your local police department or even the local PD of the buyer's hometown to take an interest in this. So best of luck. I hope it works out for you in the future. Do not sell stuff. Figure out an amount that you're willing to lose, whether it be $50, $500, $1,000, $2,000, and don't do any non-in-person meetups for over that amount. You could always list it on Craigslist or other places. There's different escrow systems out there where they'll hold the money until everything's resolved. But I would highly recommend not selling tens of thousands of dollars worth of merchandise through eBay, accepting PayPal as a payment. You've been scammed in the past. You know how this game works. I'm not trying to be mean or rude, but you really should have known better on this thing. But this is a lesson to everybody else out there too. Realize that things like this do happen on eBay and with PayPal. To some extent, it's a cost of doing business. I'm not going to leave eBay or PayPal for that reason. I do as much as I can to protect myself. I pretty much build into my margins that I'm going to be scammed a few times a year and I'm going to lose out on anywhere from a few hundred to a few $1,000s. But $17,000 is a good chunk of change. But let this be a lesson to everybody. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, just below there, please click that subscribe button. Share this video with your friends who are eBay sellers. Hopefully this doesn't happen with them. Share it on social media. Share it on your Facebook. Thank you guys for checking out the video. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for supporting the channel. And I got some great content coming out later this week, so stay tuned, guys. We'll talk to you next time.